And the House Committee on Foreign Affairs is holding hearings on the president's request, and Chairman Ed Royce joins us from Los Angeles. Mr. Chairman, thanks for joining us. Let me ask you this. As that war authorization currently stands right now, would you vote for it?
Well, I think as the war authorization is before Congress, we are going to debate it. In my committee, we began this process on Thursday. I'm sure there'll be some amendments, and there will be an attempt to bring the Republicans and Democrats together. I think it is very important we come together and support an authorization for this reason. So far, ISIS has recruited 20,000 fighters from around the world from 90 different countries. So unless we're going to put together a decisive strategy to show that they can be defeated on the battlefield, they'll continue to message out over what they call the virtual caliphate, out over the internet, that they can't be stopped. And in order to stop them, we primarily need Kurdish forces, Jordanian forces, Arab tribes on the front lines. As you know so far, the Kurds and the Jordanians say we have not given them the type of weaponry they need in order to really engage ISIS effectively. So, and likewise, they need the air support from us, and they also need some of our special forces, spotting, calling in airstrikes, and providing other support behind these troops.
But, Mr. Chairman,
I think,
right.
Yes.
Let me ask you this. I mean, as you know, though, the devil is in the details, and perhaps you're being kind to the members of your committee by not coming in too strongly on one specific provision over another, but this 3-year time limit, you heard Anthony Ziddy mention that he's not in favor of that should be expanded, that Franklin Roosevelt couldn't have been expected to win the World War II in 3 years. What about that time limit? Is that okay with you?
Well, I don't know where the Congress will come down on the time limit. I will tell you some concerns that I think will be raised. One, you'll notice today that both the British and Canadian forces have their spotters forward deployed so that when they're helping the airstrikes, they can actually see the targets effectively, and those strikes are effective. Ours are not forward deployed. And so issues like this, giving the authority to conduct those strikes. Also, I would just point out, their airstrikes are made in real time. Those decisions don't go out to Washington and wait and then hold in abeyance as Washington agrees on the target or allows the airstrike. I think we will have a discussion here, certainly with the Pentagon and with the Special Forces, about what can be done to make them effective. And
right.
Certainly with the Kurds, we know the administration has not given them the anti-tank missiles or the artillery, long-range mortars they say they need. They're fighting with small arms fire against right. ISIS artillery. We have got to get engaged in this debate in order to make certain that we can have a decisive victory there.
But, Mr. Chairman, very specific. I mean, just very quickly before I ask you about the events in Copenhagen, I want to ask you though. U.S. forces, when they go into Iraq under this authorization, the President doesn't want them in an open-ended sort of commitment there under this AUMF. But how far should they be able to go in these operations? You're mentioning airstrikes. You want the airstrikes to be more effective. Obviously, you'll want them in there calling out airstrikes. How much combat should they be seeing?
Well, you have 3,000 U.S. forces on the ground today, so I think it should be understood that we are involved in training right now and assisting those Arab tribes. We certainly hope to be equipping better the Kurds and the Jordanians, because the Jordanians also have been up here asking for that support. So I think we will be working behind them. I think they'll be carrying the major battle. We're not looking to put the 82nd Airborne again into that theater of operation. But that said, you have to have rules of engagement that will allow for victory, and that's going to require a certain cooperative relationship in which we can call in the airstrikes needed and give the support necessary for the frontline forces, which will be Arab tribes and Kurds.
And Mr. Chairman, on these events coming out of Copenhagen, they're very reminiscent of what occurred in Paris about a month ago. What is your immediate reaction to that? Obviously, this is a very serious situation if we're going to see these events sort of unfold month after month over there in Western Europe. you must be very concerned about what you're seeing today.
Well, it's not just Western Europe. There was an attempt in Australia that was
That's right.
prevented. I think it was Tuesday. And now you have large ISIS units operating in Libya, also operating in Egypt. Certainly we've watched things in Nigeria unfold. And so the recruitment around the world for people to join the war for a caliphate is something that's going to be with us for some time. But it takes us back to the original point, which was they have to see the caliphate defeated. They can't believe it's inevitable that this caliphate is going to wipe out religions and wipe out the Enlightenment and wipe out other points of view. The caliphate is an attempt, frankly, to use terror, to use beheadings, to use stoning, to use burning in order to strike enough fear into populations and also to recruit young men. And unless that's decisively defeated in this ISIS battle, it's going to continue to have its allure and its pull on these young men.
Absolutely. And Chairman Royce, we appreciate your time very much. Thanks for coming on and talking about this. And